Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto is thrown away by parents. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. And check out the description as well. Let's start the video. A single stone jumped across the road in the middle of the night. From where it came, a blonde child was slowly walking down the outskirts of Konoha. Today was October 10th and the festival of rebirth was afoot. Now, you may be asking yourself why this child was not at the festival. Well, you see, it's not just the festival, it's his siblings' birthdays and his own. But to better clarify, we must go back a few years before the festival was created. Hold this position. If the Kyuubi breaks through, it will have a straight shot at the village center. A commander yelled. The sounds of battles could be heard before a blood-stopping roar pierced the heavens. The village hidden in the leaves was under siege by the legendary nine-tailed fox, which had appeared in the outskirts of the village. And their leader was nowhere to be found. The fox stood the size of a mountain and with a single swipe of a tail, leveled an entire platoon, not to mention the forest and buildings around it. It reared back on its hind legs and started channeling chakra towards its mouth, creating some kind of sphere. Suddenly, the fox's head was impacted by a large cylinder, sending the attack far into the distance. It's the third Hokage. The ninja yelled. The army cheered at the sight of their previous leader. He was cloaked in a metal armor and in his hand was a giant bow staff. We must keep the beast at bay for a while longer. The fourth is almost here. He yelled, rallying the shinobi. For the next hour, ninja of all shapes and sizes pushed the beast further from the village. Suddenly a large plume of smoke appeared above the fox before a giant toad landed on it, pinning it down to the earth. It's the fourth. Someone yelled. The third shunshined onto the top of the toad in time to see Minato holding 3 babies. Minato. What are you doing? Hiruzen asked. Lord Sarutobi, I am sealing away the fox into my 3 children. Please step away. Minato ordered. You're not going to use the Shiki Fuijin, are you? Hiruzen demanded. Minato nodded before he started going through the seals. In just a moment, the third Hokage changed fate forever. Without a moment's thought, he knocked Minato out and started going through the seals to summon the god of death. When he finished, the fabric of space ripped apart, revealing a figure cloaked in white with a knife in its mouth. What do you want, mortal? It asked. Lord Shinigami, forgive me for summoning you, but I had to in order to save my home. I wish to seal the Kyuubi into these 3 children. Hiruzen said. The Shinigami nodded. Any particular way you wish to split it? The god asked. At this point Minato had woken up. Hiruzen. What are you doing? He yelled. You have much more in store for you, Minato. Allow an old man a chance to defend his village once more. How do you wish to split the fox? He inquired. The yin and yang into Menma and Narumi. The soul to Naruto. Minato said with a somber look. He may not agree with the third's decision, but he respected it. Hiruzen looked to the death god, getting a nod in return. You know the price of this, yes? It asked. My soul. May I ask for time to set my affairs in order before you take me? Hiruzen asked. The god nodded once more before taking the knife out of its mouth and making 3 slashes into the Kyuubi. No. Not again. You will not imprison me again. The Kyuubi roared. The god snorted before slamming its hands into the earth. Thousands of seals erupted from its hands into a circle around the fox and the children before in a bright flash, the death god was gone and the Kyuubi sealed. 3 days later, the third Hokage died surrounded by his friends and family. Minato announced that his children imprisoned the Kyuubi. Since that day, Naruto has held the soul of the 9-tailed fox, making him into a sort of outcast amongst the village. Even his family treated him differently. It didn't start that way, but over the years his family slowly started ignoring him in favor of his siblings, the saviors of the leaf as the villagers call them. And so, at the age of 7, Naruto did not much enjoy the festival or his birthday, as it was a reminder that he could never match up to his siblings in terms of love they received from their parents. Naruto was also stunted in his abilities as a ninja. His parents refused to train him in order to train his siblings so that they could control the chakra of the fox. This really upset him because as of next year, he would be joining the academy with just as much skill as a civilian. Naruto sighed as he tried to block out the sounds of the party. As he traveled the abandoned road, his ears suddenly perked up as he heard a strange noise. It was music, but of a strange instrument he had never heard. Following the music, he arrived at a boarded-up home, yet light flickered from inside. Curious, Naruto found a way in and discovered an old man playing on a box-like instrument. Ah, a visitor, it's been quite a while. The man said before turning around. He had pitch-black glasses over his head, a small white afro, and a scar running down his forehead. How did you know I was here, Gramps? Naruto asked, no the least bit concerned with his safety. I felt the change in the pitch of the music. He grinned, revealing a mouth that was missing a few teeth. Really, I didn't know that was possible. Is it something you did with chakra? Naruto asked. Yo-ho-ho-ho. No, I've been a musician for so long that I can tell. However, you probably could use chakra to sense a disturbance. He said, raising his hand to his chin. What are you doing in here with all the windows boarded up? Naruto asked as he fully entered the building. Oh, just waiting to be reunited with my friends, he said before resuming his playing. Your friends? Naruto asked. Yes, we've been separated for quite some time. But I don't think it will be long now. Maybe a month or two. He smiled. How long have you been waiting, Gramps? Naruto asked. Oh, 10, 15 years. I've traveled quite a lot since then. The man said. Not to be rude, but are you sure they're not, dead? Naruto asked, trying not to upset the man. Oh, they're dead, that's why I'm waiting. The man said, shocking Naruto. So you're just waiting to die, Naruto asked. Yes. I have seen enough of the world and my goals are complete. Now I just bide my time till my body gives out. He smiled once more. Naruto sat there silently. You aren't scared of death? The blonde asked. Should I? Between the two of us, you are the one who has met the god of death. The old man said. What? Naruto asked. I know your story, Naruto. Namek is Uzumaki. A sad one. But one that is incomplete. The man said. My story? Naruto asked, even more confused. Yes. Kept at a distance by the villagers, holding the soul of the nine-tailed fox, family not loving you all that much. The man frowned. Naruto realized the man was playing a sad melody. What do you know of family not loving you enough? Naruto yelled, a few tears running down his face. I know that you are hurting. Why else would you have stumbled upon me today? The man said. But I'll let you in on a little secret. He said, cupping his hand around his mouth. A family is not based on blood alone. It's based on the love that one gives another. He smiled. That's why I am waiting for my friends. It's been so long since I've felt their loving embrace, and I know that when I finally do pass from this world, they will be there waiting for me. The man smiled, a single tear appearing from his glasses. You're different, old man. Naruto said. The man let out a laugh. So I've been told. So Naruto, what is it that you want? The man said, confusing the blonde. What do you mean? He asked. What is it that you currently want out of life? The man asked. Well, I want to know what it is that you're playing. Naruto suggested. Yo-ho-ho-ho. Very funny, Naruto. No, what is it that you want in life? Perhaps a goal you have. The man suggested. Oh, I guess proving I'm just as important to my parents as Menma and Narumi. He thought aloud. And how are you going to go about doing that? The man asked. The melody changed once more, having a lighter, happier tune as the tempo sped up. Well, I want to become a very powerful ninja and later in life lead my clan well. Naruto said. The man nodded as he changed the tune once more to a more fast-paced melody. Then, in my remaining time, I shall help you achieve your dreams. This said. Wait, what? Naruto asked. I shall help you achieve these dreams and goals of yours. The man smiled. Why? Naruto asked. It's what my friends and I did. We helped people. The man said before standing up and grabbing a cane. Now, have you unlocked your chakra yet? No, my parents told me to wait for the academy since they are training my siblings. He explained. The man nodded before sitting down on the ground. I will show you the form I used to unlock my chakra. He said. Naruto sat down and assumed the same form as the man. Now, this may take some time, so let's use all the time I have left. The man smiled. After a few hours, Naruto gave up. I guess we will try tomorrow then. The man said. He tried getting up, but his body started to fail. Here, let me help you, Gramps. Naruto said, helping him up. Thank you. Now, earlier you asked what this instrument was. This is a piano. It's a bit rare in this part of the world, but it sounds quite divine. He smiled. You see, in my youth, I was quite the musician, playing for crowds around the world. I was never famous, but that wasn't the point. The point was to bring smiles and happiness to those that were sad. Then I met my friends and we were more or less vigilantes, but the original goal was the same. He explained as he started playing again. You see that scroll over there? He asked, pointing towards the wall. Indeed, there was a small scroll leaning against the rotten planks. That contains what few instruments I have left from my travels. He explained. Would you like to learn how to play? He asked. Don't you think you are running out of time to give me lessons? Naruto asked. Indeed. However, I have a jutsu that will teach you the basics. I can also teach you the other instruments if you like. He suggested, a glint in his glasses betraying his hopefulness. Sure, but what good does any of this do for me? Naruto asked as he sat down next to the old man. Well, Naruto, music is so much more complex than most people think. When words cannot be uttered, music can get the message across. When one is in need of release, they can play an instrument. He explained. Having a basic grasp of what the man was saying, Naruto nodded. So, this will feel a bit weird for a moment, but you will soon learn. The man explained before slowly going through the seals. Soul Shadow Jutsu. He said. Immediately, Naruto felt a strange pinch-like sensation in the back of his mind before he felt his body move to the same position as the man's. Well, here we go. As Naruto copied the man's actions, fleeting thoughts passed through his mind, telling him what each note was and what it looked like in sheet music. After an hour, Naruto knew the basics of piano. How was that? The man said, turning towards the blonde. It was weird but fun. Can we try the other instruments? Naruto asked. The man smiled once more before he retrieved the scroll and unsealed the instruments. When all was said and done, there was a violin, a guitar, a drum set, a trumpet, and a saxophone in the room. Well, we got all night to practice. By sunrise, Naruto had learned the basics for all these instruments, but took a liking towards the piano, drums, and guitar the most. Well, Naruto, as it is now tomorrow, come back here after you've got some sleep and we'll continue working on unlocking your chakra. The man said. Naruto nodded before letting out a yawn as he headed home. I can feel it. Naruto's gonna make this world all new. For the next 2 months, the old man trained Naruto, eventually unlocking his chakra after a week and a half. The rest of the time was teaching the blonde chakra controls, learning his affinity for wind, basic sealing, and refining his musical ability. All jutsu and exercises were left for Naruto to come up with. However, all good things eventually end, and Naruto discovered his mentor had died with a smile on his face, body still playing the piano. Old man, are you okay? Naruto asked as he entered the home. The man did not respond, so Naruto went up and poked him. The man fell over, the smile never leaving his face. Gee Gramps. Get up. Come on, you're not that old. Naruto pleaded. His cries went unanswered as tears rolled down his face. As he wept, he felt something hit his feet. He looked down through teary eyes to see a scroll. A different one than the one containing the instruments. Unrolling it revealed it to be a letter written by the man. Ah Naruto, if you're reading this, it means I have finally reunited with my friends. This past 2 months have reminded me of all the fun I had in my youth, and being with you and teaching you has left me in a better mood than I have been in years. I leave you all the instruments that I have. I ask of you not to grieve for me, as dying should be a happy time of remembrance, not a sad one of longing. Naruto, remember what I told you about a family. Someday, you'll find people who will love you unconditionally. As one of my friends said, no one is born in this world to die alone. And if your birth family doesn't fit that mold, then fill your heart with those that do. I know you have for me after all these years. Love your old man and Nakama. Brook. Naruto wailed as he read the last words of his family. When all of his tears had dried up, Naruto sealed up the piano and Brook's body before he walked to the middle of the woods and buried him, leaving a hand-carved headstone that said, Brook, loving old musician and teacher. For the next few months, Naruto trained himself from examples he'd see of other ninja and worked to stand out of the shadow of his family. He did not stop his musical abilities, believing that whenever he played, he felt just a bit of Brook next to him once more. Eventually, it was time for the academy to start, filling Naruto with a sense of determination. It also meant that it was nearly a year since Brook's passing. It was the weekend before the first day, and the Namikaze Uzumaki clan was meeting in the family room. Alright everyone, we have some announcements. First off, we are so proud of you for finally attending the academy. Minato beamed at Menma and Narumi. He quickly glanced at Naruto for a moment as well. Second, we you gifts to commemorate this occasion. He said as Kushina pulled out a scroll. She unsealed 3 separate things. For Narumi, a chakra-conductive sword. She smiled. For Menma, a water balloon. Your father will explain it to you. Kushina smiled. And Naruto a set of kunai and shuriken. She said. Naruto smiled, but internally, he sighed, it's just like them to go all out for Menma and Narumi, but only give me something I should have gotten anyway. He thought to himself. Now, the final piece of news is that the Kazukiage and his family will be here during your birthdays to talk about our alliance, so I want you to be on your best behavior when they are here. Minato said with a stern voice. Yes. Well, there will be a party, you still need to act like children of the Hokage. Kushina smiled. Okay. Menma and Narumi chanted before hugging their parents. Naruto nodded before walking up to his room. He did not show himself until the morning of the next day, ready, wearing the clothes he bought with his allowance that he though best fit that of a shinobi, that he could afford of course. He wore a black mesh shirt under a dark green, short-sleeve hoodie with the Namikaze and Uzumaki symbols he had sewn onto the sleeves. On his legs he wore dark gray pants that were tied with navy blue tape at his lower calves, before being tucked into black shinobi sandals. On his right thigh he had wrapped his kunai holster. He had his longer hair and a short, spiky ponytail going down his back. Not like Shikamaru's where it goes up. Menma wore his trademark orange jumpsuit with the clan symbols on the back. He looked like a mix of his parents, having yellow hair with red tips. He inherited his father's facial structure and his mother's eyes. Narumi wore a white skirt with black shorts underneath. On top she wore a black shirt with a long-sleeve white mesh shirt underneath. On her back was her new sword. She looked more like their mother, almost being an exact copy of her. The only difference was that she had their father's eyes. "Alright kids, let's get you to your first day," Kushina said, flashing a camera at the three. After a 20-minute walk, they arrived at the academy. Seeing their friends, Menma and Narumi ran to them, leaving Naruto with his parents, who were headed off to talk to some of the parents. Having the words of Brook run through his head, he decided to try to meet people. Seeing a kid off to the side, Naruto decided to try talking to him. Hey there," he said. The kid gave no response. Naruto could not get a read off him as his jacket is his mouth and his glasses shielded his eyes. "I'm Naruto," he said, holding his hand out. "Shino." The now revealed Shino said, shaking the blonde's hand. "You look kinda familiar. Have I seen you before?" Naruto asked. "Indeed. I have been to your home a few times Namikaze Uzumaki, as my father is the leader of the Aburami clan," the kid said. Before Naruto could respond, the bell went off, signifying classes were about to start. All the families hugged and kissed their kids goodbye as they slowly entered the building. "Hello everyone. My name is Iruka. I shall be your main sensei until such time that you drop out or gain your headband. But neither of those will happen for another 5 years. So let's get to know each other and let's get started with the basics." The man with a scar running over his nose said as the classroom settled down. Looking around, Naruto could see that many influential children were here. There were 7 clan heirs, not counting him and his siblings. And a few of the more prominent merchants had children here as well. "Alright, can anyone tell me what the first Hokage was famous for?" Iruka asked. Naruto sighed to himself once more. If this is what the academy is like, this is gonna suck. Naruto whistled a tune as he sat upon the first Hokage's head. It was currently October 9th, the day before the festival and his birthday. However, this year, the world seemed a bit brighter. He had met his first nakama, Shino, 2 months prior, and the two became fast friends, as they were essentially the outcasts of their class. Shino because of his family's jutsu and Naruto because people only wanted to get to know him so that he could introduce them to his siblings. "Oh, Naruto," came a voice from above him. He looked up to see his father leading a small group of a man and 2 children. The man was dressed in white and green robes, signifying him to be the Kazekage. Naruto immediately stood up and bowed. "Lord Kazekage," he said respectfully. "Rasa, this is my eldest son, Naruto." "Naruto, why are you not in class?" Minato asked. "I have my reasons," the young blonde said. He quickly scanned the children to see a blonde girl with 2 ponytails a bit older than he was and a boy with brown hair that was possibly the same age as him. "Return to class, Naruto. If you ever want to be like your siblings you need to study hard," Minato sighed. Naruto narrowed his eyes before giving a curt nod and walking down the mountain. "Trouble in paradise, Minato?" Rasa asked, raising an eyebrow. Naruto is a challenged youth. He doesn't have the same level of skill, intelligence, or potential as his younger siblings. Minato explained. I see." Rasa said looking down at his children. The blonde girl was watching Naruto walk down the mountain with interest. "Well, children are children. We cannot begin to say we foresee all they can do." Minato nodded before continuing the tour he was giving. "Naruto, where have you been?" Iruka yelled once the blonde had entered the classroom. "Out," he said before walking up to his spot next to Shino. "First Hokage's head?" Shino asked, not turning from the lecture. "Yep. Turns out the Kazekage and his family arrived," Naruto said as he took out a small notebook. Inside was all his ideas on songs and jutsu. "Is there something you wish to inform the group, Naruto?" Iruka asked threateningly. Not looking up from his notebook he retorted, "The Kazekage and his family have arrived," he said as he was working out the semantics for a jutsu he was creating. See, Naruto didn't have the training from his family to fall back on, only what Brook taught him. Before meeting Brook, Naruto spent countless hours in the family library, learning everything he could to impress his parents in the academy. Now though, he used his time to experiment and trying to create his own style. Iruka blinked, not having expected such news. "Oh, that is something quite interesting. Please try to pay attention," he said before returning to the chalkboard. Naruto paid him no mind as he continues working on creating his first jutsu. It took the basics of enhancing your strength like Tsunade of the Sannin, however, instead of channeling it through your body, you build it up until you release it at a target. Naruto was having problems getting the release right, having gone to the Sannin a few times to get patched up from test runs. Eventually the bell rang, signifying the end of the day. Any luck? Shino asked as he put away his materials. No, I can't seem to figure out the problem. Naruto said, scratching the back of his head. Oh, you want to hang out or anything? Naruto asked. I cannot. Father said we must prepare for tomorrow. Shino said as they walked through the halls. Alright then, I guess I'll just work on my jutsu some more. Naruto shrugged as they exited the building. Standing under the tree was Shino's father, Shinobi. I'll see you later, Shino. Naruto said before he headed home. The bug boy nodded in return. Father. Shino greeted. Son. Shinobi said before the two walked off. Naruto sat in his secret training ground. It was on the far outskirts of the village, so not many shinobi or civilians would find him. Currently, he was surrounded by books and scrolls, and in his hand was a single leaf. Wachidoin, came a voice from behind him. Naruto fumbled with the leaf, dropping it in surprise. Looking behind him was the Kazukige's daughter. What are you doing here? Naruto asked in shock that someone found this place. Father said I could look around and I saw you and decided to follow you. The girl said. I'm Temari. She introduced. Naruto. He said before picking the lead back up. So what is it that you're doing? The girl asked. I'm working on my elemental affinity. He explained. Really? What's your affinity? She asked, genuinely surprised at the answer. Wind. Do you know yours? He asked, looking up from the leaf. A look of surprise passes his face as well as she pulled out a small paper fan from her kimono sleeve. I'm wind too. Are you trying to cut the leaf in half? She asked, coming closer until she was looking over his shoulder. Yeah, I can get it to start cutting, but I haven't quite got it yet. He explained. I had problems with this exercise as well. I'm impressed a kid like you is already this far. Are your parents helping you? Temari asked with an air of arrogance. A dark look passed over Naruto. No, they aren't. And who you calling kid? You're probably my age. Naruto countered. Nope. I'm 10. That makes me older than you by 2 years. She smirked, crossing her arms. Oh, so you must be closer to becoming a ninja then? Naruto asked with a genuine smile. Not expecting such a question, Remark blushed. Well actually, we're probably in the same year. My father put all 3 of his kids in our academy at the same time. Temari blushed. 3 kids? I only saw you and your brother. Naruto said, confused. Temari frowned sadly. My youngest brother isn't with us. His name's Gaara and my father said for Kankuro and I to avoid him and not to talk to him unless we have to. She said. What? Why? Naruto questioned. Father says that Gaara is cursed and contains the soul of a sand demon in him that causes him to use sand to hurt people uncontrollably. She explained. I understand. Naruto said, putting a hand on Temari's shoulder. No, you don't. She said, pulling away from his grasp. No one does. And the person most hurt is Gaara. She said, tears running down her face. Maybe not to the same extent, but on some level I do. Naruto said. My siblings and I all hold a third of the 9-tailed fox inside us. I hold the soul while my siblings hold the yin and yang of it. The villagers treat me like an outcast and I am treated differently by my parents. Naruto explained. Temari stopped crying at this and hugged him. Naruto froze up for a moment as physical contact was rare with him. You do understand somewhat then. Temari smiled. After a few moments she released her embrace, still smiling. How about I help you with your wind exercises? She suggested. I thought you were in the same year as I am? Naruto asked, confused. Technically I am, however father has given Kankuro and I tutors since he had us wait for Gaara. She explained. So first thing you want to do is not lose your cool. There are times when you will need to use emotions to power jutsu, but the wind element is mostly calm. She said, handing Naruto a leaf before grabbing one herself. She held it in both hands and calmly breathed in and out. Naruto followed her example. So there are 2 parts of wind, the blunt forceful part and the quick piercing part. She explained. Most people specialize in one. I mainly use the blunt part. She continued. So, how do you visualize your chakra? Temari questioned. Visualize? I mainly think of cutting when trying to use my wind chakra. He said. Ah, that's probably your problem. Both blunt and piercing have the capability to cut. She explained. Wait, what? Naruto asked, confused. Maybe that wasn't the best way to put it. Okay, there's a wide area of attack and a short area of attack. It's like throwing a single kunai versus throwing a handful of shuriken. That make more sense? She asked. Naruto nodded before looking back at the leaf. So when you picture wind chakra, you have to imagine 2 winds moving against each other, like 2 kunai scrapping across each other. The force they put on each other shapens them both at the same time. she explained. Try it out. She said as her leaf cut in half. Naruto nodded before concentrating real hard on the image of two kunai against each other. He started channeling chakra and slowly the leaf started to cut. After about 10 minutes, the leaf was cut in half and Naruto was panting on the ground. Good job. Most people around our ages don't even know about their affinity, let alone practice it. Temari said with a smile. Thanks. I've been working on that for months. He explained. He looked up to see that the sun had started to set. I guess we've been here longer than I thought. He said before he pulled out a small scroll and started sealing the books and scrolls he had on the ground. You own a sealing scroll? Temari asked, amazed at her fellow blonde. Yeah, that and exploding notes. I'm just an apprentice when it comes to seals, but I know a lot more anyone in my class. He said as they started walking back to the village center. Wait, are you saying you made that scroll? Temari asked. Naruto nodded. What else can you do? I can play some instruments. What about you? Naruto asked. I'm learning how to use my mother's battle fan. I want to use it as to respect her memory. Temari explained. Specializing in a weapon is pretty smart. It makes it harder for others to come up with a battle plan. Naruto said. I also play shogi quite a bit. I think my dad is disappointed in my ninja skills, so he and I play tactical games to help me strategize better. She said looking down. Hey, he sounds better than my dad. My parents ignore me or compare me to my younger siblings all the time. I hardly get a hello from them most days. Naruto explained. Well, maybe once you start taking missions your parents will acknowledge you. She suggested with a smile. The two walked for some time in a comfortable silence for some time before they made it back to the village center. Ah, Temari, there you are. Rasa said as he approached the two blondes. Oh Naruto, yes? He asked. Yes sir. Naruto responded. I hope the two of you haven't gotten into any mischief. Rasa said with a stern look. No sir. We were training. Naruto explained. Rasa looked at the boy for a moment before nodding. Temari, we must pick up your brother. He said. Bye Naruto. See you later. Temari waved before the two walked away. Naruto waved in response before he turned to head home. When he arrived, dinner was already started. He entered the house and washed his hands before joining his family. When he got to the table he sighed, Ramen, again. He thought. He had nothing against ramen and every once in a while enjoyed the salty meal, but his family was just obsessed with the fattening food. No one took notice of the blonde as he ate some vegetables behind the kitchen's bar counter. After the family had finished, Kushina noticed her eldest. Naruto, what are you doing here? And what are you eating? She asked seeing him dip a piece of broccoli into some ranch. I got home late and decided to eat some veggies. He explained. But I made ramen for everyone, even if you were late. She said placing her hands on her hips. I didn't feel like eating ramen again. He explained before he rinsed his plate. As he climbed the stairs up to his room he heard his mother whisper, what are we going to do with you Naruto? Sighing, he continued until he was in his room. It was quite sparse, having a bed, lamp, desk and chair, window, and a wardrobe. On his desk were his notebook and some sealing equipment, along with Brook's scroll. He grabbed his mentor's scroll and opened the window before hopping down on the ground. Once down he walked up to the mountain monument but didn't jump down to the first's head. He unsealed the piano and looked out over the village as the sun set. Can anybody find me somebody to love? He sang as he started playing. He stayed up there for an hour, watching the sunset as his voice echoed out over the village. As the moon finally came out, Naruto sealed up his piano and returned to the house and jumped through his window. Setting the scroll on his desk he changed into sleep attire and promptly went to sleep. Naruto sighed. Once again his parents had forgotten his birthday. The day had ended and the village was celebrating the festival. However, at the Namikaze Uzumaki household, a large soiree was being held for the birthday of Menma and Narumi. All of the clan heads and heirs were there along with the Sannin and even the Kazukige's family. The loud dinging noise caught his and everyone's ears, causing the party to quiet down. Thank you all for attending our children's birthday party. Minato started. A few cheers came from the crowd, causing the Hokage to raise his hand to silence them. Yes well, Kushina and I have a gift we would like to give Narumi and Menma. He smiled. From this day forward, Menma, you are the heir to the Namikaze line. And Narumi, you are the heiress to the Uzumaki line. He smiled. At that moment, Naruto's heart shattered, as did most of his rational thoughts. His body trembled in pain and fury. Quickly, before he caused a scene, he exited the room, unbeknownst to most of the group. He ran. He ran to the only place he could think of that would give him comfort. He ran to Brook's grave. Brook. He cried as he kneeled down on the grave. Old man. I need you. Why did you have to leave me to this fate? He sobbed. A soft gust of wind caressed his face, causing him to look up only to feel something drop from his pocket. Looking down, it was Brooke's last words to the blonde. Rereading it, he smiled, remembering the fun times he had with the old musician. Find those that fit the mold. He read off. With a vow, he now held a new goal in mind, as his goal to gain his parents' approval obviously was destroyed. I'll find them. Somewhere in the world are my nakama, and when I find them, I'll defend them to my last breath. This is my ninja way. Naruto. Shino said the next day. They were currently in class, working on history of the Leaf Village. Yes? Naruto asked. I'm sorry. Shino said, catching Naruto off guard. He looked up from his notebook at his friend. What? Naruto asked. Last night. He said before he pulled out a wrapped gift from his hoodie. I was going to give this to you, however your father's announcement stopped that plan. Shino explained. Thanks Shino. I made peace with it and in doing so I have chosen my path in life. Naruto said in a very not Naruto way. Shino raised an eyebrow before nodding. The bug boy figured that Naruto was either traumatized and this was the result or in denial of what truly happened. Either way, he would support his friend. After class ended, Naruto ended up in his training grounds once more, this time working on cutting a rock with wind. Naruto. A voice said from behind him. Turning his head, he saw Temari running towards him. She jumped into the younger blonde, wrapping him in a hug. I'm so sorry. She said into his back. Thanks. He said sadly. What the hell were your parents thinking? She asked, surprising the boy by her language. I don't know. But I've worked through it and changed my life's goal. He explained. Temari released her grip on her friend and looked at him. Really? You're over it already? She asked. No, but my resolve is helping me. He smiled weakly. Hey, when is it you and your family are heading back? He asked. Tomorrow. She frowned. But while I'm here I can help you with your wind chakra. What are you working on now? She asked. I'm trying to cut a rock with wind chakra now. He explained. Temari nodded before grabbing her own pebble. This was hard for me, so don't expect it to be as easy as leaf cutting. She explained. Naruto nodded before they got to work. Temari showed him what it looked like a few times, allowing Naruto to get a basic idea for what he needed to do. So Naruto, why are you training your wind affinity so much? Temari asked, sitting down. Naruto grabbed his pack and pulled out his notebook before throwing it to the girl. I'm working on a jutsu, I was thinking that wind chakra was the answer to the problem I was having. He explained. That depends on what you're trying to do. Temari said. I wish to release a burst of chakra that sends an enemy flying. Naruto explained. Temari thought for a moment. Have you tried changing a pre-existing jutsu? She asked. No. What jutsu sends a person flying? He asked. Well, wind style. Great Breakthrough releases a large blast of wind from the user's mouth, sending many things flying, depending on how much chakra is used. She explained. I can't make it very powerful yet, but I can send a person or two flying. She explained. That's awesome. He said looking at her in awe. Temari blushed at the praise. Thanks. Want me to teach you? She asked. Naruto nodded excitedly. For the next few hours, Temari helped Naruto learn the jutsu. How are you pant, still going? Temari breathed heavily. Naruto was only slightly winded. Well, I don't have a tailed beast's jutsu locked inside me, I still am in Uzumaki and we Uzumaki have more chakra than most. Naruto explained. So, Naruto, this is going to sound bad, but do you plan on sticking around the Leaf Village after what happened? Temari asked as they finished up. Yeah, I'm staying. I'm also keeping the Uzumaki name. He explained. Why? After everything your family has done so far? She asked. I'm leaving the Namikaze name behind. But the Uzumakis, as few as there are left of us, care about family. And while I have been all but thrown out of the clan in name, I am still in Uzumaki and I am searching for my family. He said looking up to the treetops. Temari stared at him for a few moments, weighing his words in her mind. That's a good goal. She eventually said. Naruto nodded. We'd best go back. She said softly. For a while, they walked in silence. Will I see you again? Naruto asked. Temari stopped mid-walk. I don't think so, at least for a while. My dad doesn't like leaving the village. And he doesn't like anyone sending messages unless they are official or emergency. She explained. Naruto looked down in sadness. But, since we are allies, we probably will see each other on missions or at Chunin exams. She explained. Naruto nodded before they started walking once more. Thanks for helping me out so much, Temari. Naruto said as they neared her hotel. No problem. It was fun. Much more so than being around your siblings. She laughed. Yeah, I imagine it would be. Oh, Temari. He said. Yeah. She asked. Try and get to know your brother. The one who's not here. It would make him feel a lot better. Naruto explained. Tamari looked at him for a moment before nodding. This isn't goodbye, you know. Tamari said. What? Naruto asked. Goodbye means you don't expect to see someone again. She explained. Then, how about see you later? Naruto asked. Tamari nodded before they hugged. See you later, Naruto. She said before entering her hotel. See ya. Naruto wasn't able to see Tamari off the next day. He tried, he really did, but Iruka came to get Naruto himself and escorted him to class. Hey Shino. Naruto said as he slammed his head down onto the desk. The bug boy raised a single eyebrow. I missed an important occasion because of Iruka. Naruto explained. Shino nodded before turning back to the front as the lesson started. After an hour the group was taken outside to judge their shuriken jutsu skills. Menma, you're up. Iruka said. The boy stepped forward and pulled out his gear. He threw a handful of shuriken at the dummy. Alright 9/10, good job Menma, now kunai. He said as Naruto's brother grabbed his gear from the straw dummy. He pulled out his kunai and threw those as well. 8/10, that's pretty good Menma, the highest score so far today. Iruka praised. Narumi, your turn. The scared man said, motioning for the girl to step up. 8/10 for shuriken. How about kunai? He asked with a smile. The girl nodded before releasing her kunai. 9/10. It seems so far Menma and Narumi are our highest scores. Iruka said. Naruto. He called out. Naruto. He called once more after the blonde didn't step forward. That child. He growled before continuing down the list. Sasuke. Naruto thought aloud. He slipped out when they had gone outside. He was currently on the first Hokage's head, his notebook out before him. How to go about changing Great Breakthrough into something smaller? He asked himself. His original jutsu design wouldn't work anymore as the jutsu was now as he was implementing wind-based chakra. As he played around with his pencil, a piece of paper fell out of the notebook. He grabbed the paper out of the air before it could fall off the monument. An exploding note. He asked himself. The gears started turning in his head as he wrote notes down on the paper. He sat there for hours, writing down ideas until a shadow blocked his light. He looked up and saw his father, looking rather pissed, standing over him. Naruto. Minato growled. Dad. Naruto responded. Do you know what time it is? The elder blonde asked. No idea. Naruto said honestly. Minato pinched the bridge of his nose. The academy just got done for the day. And tell me, what do you think your sensei told me? He asked rhetorically. That Menma and Narumi made first place in shuriken and kunai throwing. Naruto asked, bored at this discussion. Yes, he mentioned that. He also told me that someone skipped out on the shuriken and kunai activity and the rest of the day. Minato growled out. Okay. Naruto said picking up his notebook. You're never going to get to the same level as your brother and sister if you keep skipping class Naruto. Minato yelled. Yeah, because that's what I want in life. Naruto grumbled. Minato glared at his son before sighing. When we get home you're grounded. And your mother and I will be having words with you once we figure out a more suitable punishment. He said before grabbing the boy's hand. In a flash they were gone from the first Hokage's head and were in front of the Namikaze Uzumaki compound. It was medium-sized, mainly containing fields with a single large home as neither clan had been big in Konoha. When they got in, the sounds of laughter could be heard from the living room as Minato dragged Naruto into the home. Swan and Jiraiya were entertaining the kids as Kushina worked on dinner. Kushina, we're back. Minato called. He turned to Naruto. Go to your room. We'll call you down for dinner. He said. Naruto looked at him unamused before nodding and head upstairs. So what's for dinner, honey? Minato asked. Did you get Naruto? Kushina asked. Yep. He was where he usually is. Minato sighed. He ran his fingers through his hair to work off some stress. I just don't understand him. He's smart, so why doesn't he just stay in class to improve his skill? He questioned out loud. You want me to talk to him? Jiraiya asked, entering the room. If you think it would help. Kushina said. Jiraiya nodded before ascending the stairs. Yo Naruto, can we talk? Jiraiya asked with a smile as he opened the blonde's door. Is dinner ready? Naruto said closing his notebook. No. Jiraiya said. Then what do you want? Naruto asked a bit cold. He didn't hate the guy, it's just Jiraiya never did anything that caused Naruto to like him. Just a chat. Mind if I come in? Jiraiya asked. Naruto groaned for a minute. Fine. He said, giving the man his full attention. Naruto, I know you've been having some issues at the academy. But skipping class won't help you. Look at your siblings. They've been trained by some of the strongest people alive in preparation for their destiny and they still go to class. Jiraiya explained. Wait, what destiny? Naruto asked. They're the children of prophecy who will save the world. The toads foretold it. Jiraiya said, looking confused. Didn't your parents tell ya? No. They did not. I think it'd be best if you leave. Naruto said through gritted teeth. What? Why? Jiraiya asked. Leave. Naruto said more firmly. Jiraiya held his hands up in defeat before leaving. Once the man was gone, Naruto jumped through his open window and ran straight for a tree. As soon as he stopped running, he started beating on the tree. All this bullshit because some toad saw a vision, he yelled. He slammed his fists into the tree until blood oozed down the bark. After his anger was released, he walked back to the house and jumped back through his window. He grabbed a first aid kit he kept under his bed and treated his bloody knuckles, careful to get any splinters out of the wounds. Boy Naruto, dinner. Came Menma's voice outside the door. Quickly wrapping up his hands, he walked to the dining room where everyone was getting their bowls of ramen ready. Dinner was a lively affair, with only Naruto staying quiet. On occasion, Tsunade would glance at the kid, seemingly trying to measure him up. Once dinner was over, Narumi and Menma were excused, while the five of them remained. Naruto. Minato started. Yes. Naruto said, a bored expression in his face. Don't talk to us in that tone. Kushina yelled. She took a calming breath before continuing. Until your truancy is resolved, you're grounded. She said. Okay. He said before getting up to leave. You're not dismissed. Minato growled out. Really? You just issued a punishment and I have accepted, so I figure we're done here. He said before his eyes turned towards Jiraiya. Or does the prophecy state otherwise? He mocked before heading back upstairs. The room was shell-shocked. Did he just leave? Jiraiya asked. Yep. Minato said, still a bit surprised. Kushina slammed her head into the table. What are we going to do? She groaned out. It turns out being grounded didn't really affect Naruto's life. He didn't really hang out with people except for Shino, who understood the situation, and the only places he went were his training ground, the first's head, and the library. All of which he still went to. A year has passed, and Naruto still held the title of most likely to ditch class. However, he now stayed just long enough for him to participate in the actual training part of the academy. Right now, he was in his room, studying a scroll on ceiling. If that's a control seal, and this is a conduit seal, how does this work? He asked himself. Since meeting Temari and having her help with wind chakra, Naruto has been nearly obsessed with creating his own jutsu and style. His thoughts, though, were to use seals. See, seals could just about do anything once someone made the correct seal array. Otherwise you just had fancy symbols on a piece of paper or you exploded. Either or. Oh wait, that's not what that seal is, that's a timer. I see now. He read off. When not studying, he was playing music or training. He wanted to leave the academy as soon as possible as he felt it was just wasted time. He still went to class to see Shino on occasion since he still was grounded, but he never really paid attention. Alright, I think I got it. He said as he painted the seals down onto a piece of paper. He quickly exited the room via the window and ran deeper into the compound grounds. Once he was far enough away, he channeled chakra into the paper while holding it towards a tree. The seals glowed white before a large burst of wind shot into the tree, sending chunks of wood everywhere. He felt the pain before he saw it. A large chunk of wood impaled itself into his upper arm, causing the boy to seal woozy. He looked down and immediately decided that was a mistake. Blood trickled down his arm as the wood kept most of the damage inside the muscle. He put the paper down and quickly, but cautiously, headed straight to the hospital. Help, please. He said once he got inside. He fell over, his body quite pale. Someone get me a stretcher. He's going into shock. The nurse manning the reception desk yelled. A stretcher showed up seconds later as two nurses lifted the boy up and carefully placed him on it. What's going on? Tsunade asked, having been alerted to an emergency. Naruto, she asked, seeing the blonde. She quickly returned to her office and donned her medic outfit before heading to the operation room. Any idea how this happened? She asked. No, the kid just walked in and went into shock. I'm amazed no one stopped him on the streets. A doctor said. Tsunade nodded before grabbing a scalpel. He was in surgery for an hour, as the doctors wanted to be sure they got all the wood out of his body. He was lucky that it didn't splinter when it hit his bone. An hour passed before Naruto woke up. He looked around and frowned, he always hated the doctor. Naruto. Tsunade said as she entered the room. Can you tell me what happened? She asked. Training accident. He said. Tsunade wrote down some things on a clipboard. Alright, I'm guessing this didn't happen at the academy, otherwise someone would have been with you. She said. In the woods on the compound. He explained. I see. And why were you not in class? She asked. Is that a medical question? Naruto asked sarcastically. I see, was it the jutsu you've been working on? Tsunade asked, not answering the question. Yep. I got it working, kinda. I just miscalculated its power. He explained. Alright, you're free to go. Don't do any strenuous activity for the next few days. Here's a note for class. If you show up. Tsunade said, handing him a slip of paper. Did you tell anyone I was here? He asked. Nope. She said before leaving. She hoped she had made the right call. It was obvious to her that there was some bad blood between that kid and his parents. She just wished she could do more. Tsunade had only been in the triplets' lives for about 5 years now, not like Jiraiya who had been around since they were in diapers. Naruto looked at the door where the elder blonde was standing, confusion on his face. Maybe she cares more than my family does. He said to himself before leaving the room. Eventually, he made his way back to where he left the scroll. The tree he had exploded now sat on THR ground, having given out from the damage. Okay, that might be too strong. He said, picking up the scroll. And how would I activate the seal if it's on a piece of paper? He wondered aloud. Before he could start wondering, his stomach roared in hunger. He pocketed the scroll and went home to see what was for dinner. To his dismay, it was once again ramen. He returned to his room and grabbed his wallet before leaving the house. He wandered the streets for a while before deciding that dango was a good dinner. He entered the nearest store, not taking into account its occupants. Anko was enjoying herself. Dango and friends, what more could a girl ask for? So, how's it going as clan head Asuma? Kurenai asked. The bearded chain smoker sighed. It's more troublesome than it's worth. I don't get how dad did it, let alone Hokage for as long as he did. Asuma said. He had only been recently appointed as clan head as the rest of the clan wanted him to finish his contract with the monks. Hey, isn't that the Hokage's brat? Anko said suddenly. The two looked over to see a spiky-haired blonde enter the store. Yeah. Poor kid really. Asuma said. Both women looked at him in confusion. His parents took away his status as clan head and gave it to his younger siblings. He explained. That's horrible. Kurenai said. Asuma shrugged. Nothing we can do about it. He said. Anko smiled evilly for a moment. Hey kid. She yelled. Naruto looked towards the voice. He was on his way out of the shop, having just gotten his order. He saw 3 ninjas sitting there, looking at him. Yes? He asked. Come over here. The purple-haired Kunoichi demanded. Can I help you? He asked once he got to the table. You're the Hokage's brat, right? The same woman asked. One of them. Naruto said, taking a bite of the dango. You must want to be just like to be your old man, huh? Asuma said. No, I don't. A dark look passed over Naruto's face. He turned around to leave before stopping for a moment. Aren't you Asuma Sarutobi? He said, turning his head to the chain smoker. Yeah, why? He asked. Is it true you are a master of wind chakra? Naruto asked. Asuma looked at him in surprise. I am. Why do you want to know? He asked. Do you use a medium? Or simply hand signs to make the jutsu? Naruto asked. The other two looked at them in surprise. Well, I use trench knives for the most part, but I do know jutsu that don't require a medium. Asuma explained. At this point Naruto had pulled out his notebook and was writing down what the bearded man was saying. I take it your affinity is wind. Yes. I'm working on making my own wind jutsu. Naruto explained. Asuma nodded. Well, let me tell you a bit about the wind element then. Wind is the battle element. It's extremely versatile, but extremely hard to master. Most of the jutsu is best used in tandem with a weapon. There are a lot of jutsu that don't require a medium. The Sand Village's Wind Dragon, for example, doesn't require a weapon to form. Asuma explained. Naruto nodded vigorously. What wind jutsu do you know? He asked the blonde. Great Breakthrough and am working on a smaller version. Naruto explained. Oh? Like the wind bullet? He asked. No, it's a burst of wind chakra. The same principles of Great Breakthrough, but the scale is much smaller. Say you're up close in a taijutsu fight and the opponent is going for the final move. Great Breakthrough would work but would send the opponent flying and not necessarily injured. My version gives you breathing room while also doing damage. He explained. Interesting. How far are you along with it? Asuma asked. I made a seal array that works well. It's how I got this. He said, pointing towards his wrapped arm. The group looked at the kid in awe. How about you show us? Asuma said. Naruto nodded before leading the group towards a training ground. At the moment, I can't control how much power comes out of the array, but it's quite powerful. He explained as he took out some chakra wire. He attached it to the paper and stepped back a few feet. He aimed it as best he could at a tree and channeled his chakra through the string. As soon as the chakra hit the paper, the same explosion from earlier happened, sending the tree falling this time immediately. That is impressive, kid. Anko said. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Thanks. He said, not used to such praise. Asuma walked up to the tree and examined the damage. It seems the wind goes out in a single direction, but the wind itself is uncontrolled inside the circumference. He thought aloud. This is very dangerous. I'd say at least a B-rank jutsu. He said with a look of respect on his face. Really, Naruto asked excitedly. Yep. Now you need to either work out how to do it without seals or find a way to use the seal in combat. Asuma explained. You know what, kid, you want my thoughts on any other wind jutsu you cook up, you come find me. The blonde nodded vigorously. He looked up at the sky and saw it was getting dark. I got to go home. Thanks for helping me. Naruto yelled as he raced back home. Try looking for some form of medium, kid. Asuma yelled towards him. The blonde yelled some kind of response but kept running. That kid's got some serious talent if he came up with this. Anko said, taking a closer look at the tree. He definitely has skill. But what I want to know is, when did you become such a good teacher? Kurenai asked, turning towards the smoker. Hey Shino. Naruto said. The two were currently eating lunch under a tree. Another year had passed and Naruto had really been working on his seal arrays. But sadly, he has not had much luck with them or finding a weapon that suits him. Does your family use any weapons outside your bugs? Naruto asked. Most of my clan does not. We do however learn a specific taijutsu style. It's a branch of the Mantis style of Kung Fu. Shino explained. Naruto nodded. I still have no idea what kind of weapon would best suit me. He said, staring into the clouds. Have you actually looked? The glasses-wearing preteen asked. A bit here or there, but nothing ever felt right. Even kunai and shuriken don't feel entirely correct. He said with a shrug. What about Asuma Sarutobi? Shino asked. Naruto had told the boy all about his meeting with the fire monk. I don't want to bother him. He's a jonin and I'm just an academy student. There are several flaws in your logic. He's already okayed you coming to him. Also, if you were here most of the time, you'd be in the running for top shinobi in class. Shino pointed out. It was true, if Naruto came to class more, he would be in the race, at least academically. Practically outside of seals and wind chakra, Naruto was an average student. I don't care about being first. It wouldn't help me really. I may be labeled a genius by some, but out in the field, an enemy won't care how well you know about your village's history. Naruto explained. The bug boy nodded, having seen the logic in that argument. I guess I can ask him. Naruto said, standing up to leave. See you later, Shino. Naruto said, throwing up a wave. Shino's sweat dropped as he didn't mean see the man right this minute. Excuse me. Naruto said to a person once he entered the Sarutobi compound. It was the size of a small neighborhood, having about 7 medium to large houses scattered within its walls. Yes, what can I do for you? The man asked. Is Asuma Sarutobi here right now? Naruto asked. The man thought for a moment. I believe so, shall we go find him? The man asked. Seeing his headband, Naruto nodded. As they walked down the street, Naruto noticed a group of ninja practicing with staffs. They stopped when they came to the largest house. Wait here, I'll see if he's inside. The shinobi instructed. Naruto nodded before he turned back to watch the staffs in action. After a few moments the door opened back up, revealing the bearded ninja. Yo Naruto. Shouldn't you be in class? He asked as he left his house. I already know the lesson for the day. He said, turning towards the ninja. Asuma shrugged internally. Not his kid, not his problem. So what can I do for you? He asked. I was wondering if you would help me find a weapon to use as a medium. I've tried a few, but none have really felt right for me. He explained. Asuma scratched his beard. Well, I don't use the most tradition weapons. What have you tried? He asked. Sword, sickle, tonfa, nunchucks. He listed off. Asuma nodded as these were some of the most common weapons. What about a staff or chain? He asked. The blonde shook his head. Well, let me see if I can't find you a staff your sized. Asuma said before wandering off. 5 minutes later he returned with 2 staffs, one for him and one for Naruto. How's this feel? He asked, throwing the pole to the boy. Naruto weighed it in his hands, testing it. At first it didn't seem right in 2 hands, but then he tried holding it one. This is gonna seem really weird, but this feels right, but only when I hold it in one hand. Naruto said. A look of inspiration passed over Naruto's face before he took out 2 kunai. Do mind if I change this staff a bit? Naruto asked. Having already seen the unorthodoxy that is Naruto, Asuma nodded, interested in what he would do. The blonde smiled before carving a hole in both ends of the staff. After 10 minutes, Naruto seemed satisfied with his work before he shoved the kunai in the holes, creating a deadlier weapon. This feels really good. Naruto thought aloud. Well, you definitely are unorthodox. What is that? Some kind of naginata? Maybe a double-sided lance? Asuma asked. Naruto nodded, also not quite sure as to what he created. Well before I let you use that, I think it'd be best if you start with a simple staff. Asuma said, taking the kunai out of the pole. So you say that it feels wrong in both hands, but in a single hand it feels correct, yes? Yeah, I'm not sure why though. Naruto explained. Okay. Try doing it in your other hand. The bearded man said. Naruto obliged. Feels good here too. He said. Now Asuma was more confused. Okay. So you're not going to like it, Naruto, but it seems your weapon of choice is a staff. If whatever it is you made can be considered a staff. Now it's extremely rare, but a few people ever master a staff to the degree that they only need one hand to use it. So I'm going to teach you the basic forms for a staff with two hands and then one-handedly. Whatever you do afterwards is up to you. The blonde nodded eagerly before the chain smoker walked him through the exercises. The two worked for a few hours before they stopped for a break. Quite the stamina, huh, Naruto? Asuma chuckled. Comes with the name. Naruto said. Well, it seems like you've got a good handle on using a staff. Keep working on the forms and eventually add in your kunai to the woodwork. Then do the forms again using your whatever it is. After that, come find me so I can help you create a staff that allows you to channel wind chakra. You can keep that one. Asuma explained. Naruto nodded before standing up. Asuma-sensei. Naruto said as he was about to leave. Yeah, what's up? The raven-haired man asked. Thanks for helping me. Naruto smiled shyly. He was not used to people helping him out, so the concept of thanking someone for doing so was a bit foreign to him. No problem. Asuma said, just as awkwardly. This was his first time helping someone so young outside of his family. With a wave, Naruto left the compound for his own. With a bit of luck, Naruto arrived home right as his siblings did, who threw him confused looks at the sight of his staff. What's with the stick, loser? Menma sneered. Just an experiment. Naruto smiled. Whatever, loser. His fellow blonde rebuked. Narumi looked on in uninterest as they entered the home. Naruto sealed away the staff as he made his way up to his room. He hummed as he sketched out a drawing. How to make this work? Alright, Naruto, show me what you've got. Asuma said, donning his trench knives. 6 months have passed as Naruto trained himself into the ground to become a master of his double-sided staff. He could now use it in either hand to an acceptable level and has put off his wind training in response to finding a suitable weapon. Naruto held the staff in his right hand, fingers going down. His knees were a tad bent and the staff was slightly in front of his chest. Neither moved until an unseen agreement passed between them. Naruto charged, his bladed staff held out slightly ahead of him. With a single-handed spin he swung the staff low, aiming for the Jonin's legs. Asuma dodged aside, causing Naruto to swing it around once more, going for a headshot. Asuma blocked using his knives. Naruto smirked before pulling the staff towards him, releasing the staff from the smoker's blades. Now free, he stabbed straight at the man, causing him to dodge once more. Only this time, he had a cut in his flake jacket. Seeing the cut, Asuma decided to change tactics and go on the offense. He charged the blonde at high genin speeds and slashed downwards. Naruto, knowing that a direct block would leave his open to attack, as would a dodge, sent a sideways strike at the approaching hand, pushing Asuma off balance, allowing the blonde to follow up with a strike to the head. The blade connected with Asuma's head, drawing blood. Naruto dropped his staff in shock and surprise. He ran up to his sensei who was bleeding quite heavily at the moment. Asuma-sensei. Naruto yelled. Asuma fell to his knees. His vision a bit blurry. Tears went down Naruto's eyes at the thought of losing someone near to him. Suddenly, Asuma erupted in a cloud of smoke, frightening the boy. Very good, Naruto. Asuma said, jumping down from his roof. Naruto looked up from where the Asuma he just injured was. What? He whispered in confusion. That was a mixture of a shadow clone and a genjutsu. I needed to teach you a lesson. You see, in our line of work there will come a time when you will need to take a life. It's not pretty, it's not ideal, but it's you or them in the situation. I needed to introduce to you the notion. He explained. Why you, bastard? Naruto yelled, picking up his staff. He chased after the man with rage and relief that he didn't actually harm his friend. After a 10-minute chase, they sat down. Feel better now? Asuma asked. No, but I understand your reasoning. Naruto glared. Asuma's sweat dropped as he hadn't been in such a situation before. Well, let's talk about your form then. He said, changing the topic. At the moment, I would rate you as mid to high genin with your staff. What was it you were doing with your other hand though? Asuma asked. During the fight, he noticed the blonde moving his free hand in a strange way. Oh, it's something I'm working on. If I had another weapon, how would I use it in tandem, I asked myself. So at home I grab another stick to simulate dual weapons. He explained. Interesting concept. Extremely hard to input. But there have been stranger things. Keep up your training and by graduation I would say you're probably at a high genin level. Asuma said. Naruto nodded. Oh, Asuma-sensei, do you think you can teach me the shadow clone jutsu? Naruto asked. What's wrong with your clone jutsu? He asked. I've got a lot of chakra. Nowhere near my siblings' amount, but more than the rest of class. I can do a regular clone jutsu, the problem is the minimum I can make is 20. Naruto explained. I see. What about your parents? Why not ask them? He asked. Why bother? Naruto said bluntly. Asuma nodded before thinking it over. Alright kid. I'll teach you the basic shadow clone jutsu. Now pay attention now. Asuma said before slowly going through the seals. After about half an hour, Naruto had the seals memorized. Alright, try it. Asuma said. Naruto nodded before going through the seals. Shadow clone jutsu. He yelled as 3 clones burst into existence. Cool. Thanks, Asuma-sensei. Naruto smiled. The chain smoker nodded before sitting down. He had exerted a lot of energy today. Naruto, how goes the work on your jutsu? He said from the ground. Well, besides great breakthrough, henge, shadow clone, and substitution, I haven't really worked on anything else. My wind seals I made are the only thing I have besides those in my staff. Naruto explained, sitting down as well. And you haven't come up with the hand seals or a way to use it more effectively? He asked. Well I have an idea, but it's going to be hard and take time and probably a few trips to the hospital. Naruto explained. Alright then. Try not to lose an arm. But seeing as you're my temporary student, I feel you should be a tad bit more prepared. Here, I'll show you one more jutsu. But all the rest you need to find or make yourself. Asuma said standing back up. This is the wind style. Wind cutter. He said sending a sharp blade of wind at a nearby tree. The blade seemed to go through the tree before a moment later, it fell over, perfectly cut in half. While great breakthrough is useful for a large area, wind cutter is better for one-on-one. He explained before showing the blonde the seals. Keep training Naruto, and I'll try getting you on my team when you graduate. Asuma said as he saw the kid off. A while later, he was at the Akimichi BBQ joint with Kurenai, Anko, and Yugao. So how's training the Hokage's dunce? Anko asked. Naruto is very talented. I think it's more the Hokage's fault than Naruto being untalented. He said taking a piece of pork off the grill. Really? Word is he's near the bottom of the academy. Yugao said, having seen Naruto's report card on the Hokage's desk during her guard shift. So is Shikamaru Nara. Asuma pointed out. True, but it's a proven fact that the kid's a genuise. The problem is he just inherited his family's laziness as well. Kurenai said. But where the Naras are lazy, Naruto is bored. I gave him a written test of what's covered in the academy and he passed it with flying colors. That's why he leaves class so much, to train or work on his jutsu and seals. And there's his hobby he doesn't talk about. Asuma said taking a puff of his cigarette. Oh? Yugao asked. She is an outlier in terms to interaction with the blonde. She's protected the kid and seen him from afar as part of the Anbu, but he never had a face-to-face conversation. Yeah, I asked him once what he does for relaxation and he told me he draws and does something else. Problem is, he won't tell me. Must be the Uzumaki stubbornness. He muttered. Well, if you get him on your team you can ask him. Anko said in between bites of meat. Alright, when I call your name, please come enter the next room for your practical examination. Iruka said. The day had finally come, the graduation test. Naruto sat next to Shino, a bit excited to finally enter the next step of his life. Aburam, Shino. The scarred Chunin called. Knock him dead. Naruto smiled. Shino nodded in thanks at his only friend. Over the years the two had developed quite the bond between them and the bug boy hoped that they would continue their friendship even if they were not on the same team. Shino walked out a few minutes later, headband already on. Congrats Shino. Naruto said. Thank you. Good luck to you. He said before leaving the room. Eventually, the room dispersed as kid's left head held high, adorned with a forehead protector, her solemn, having failed the test. Eventually it was the triplets' turns. Menmanamika's Uzumaki. Iruka read out. The red-tipped boy entered and exited within a few moments, a look of arrogance on his face. Don't bring any more embarrassment to the family loser. He growled out to his brother. Naruto snorted but gave no other signs of recognition. Having said his part, Menma left the room. A few minutes later Narumi came out and with a lingering look to her brother, left as well. Naruto Namika's Uzumaki. Iruka said. Clenching his teeth at his name, Naruto entered the room. Before him sat Iruka and the class aide Mizuki. Alright Naruto, you know the drill, henge, substitution, and a clone. Iruka smiled. Naruto nodded before making a shadow clone, the clone hinging into a chair and substituting with a chair clone. Well done. Is there any other jutsu you know? Haruka asked, hoping to get the blonde to open up. Yes. Naruto said. And they are? Haruka asked. Not for you to know unless we are partnered on a future mission. He said before taking a black forehead protector. Coming out of his shocked state, Haruka shook his head before yelling out, be back here in 3 days for team placement at the same time as have class. No one was waiting outside for him as he exited the academy. Deciding it was a while until dinner, he walked up to his usual spot and unsealed his guitar. For an hour or so, he played unconsciously, the joy he felt at finally being able to expand his capabilities outside of the library and Asuma-sensei having him on autopilot. After a while he noticed it had gone dark and headed back down the mountain. When he arrived home, he noticed the lights were out. He entered and made himself a sandwich before going to bed. Meanwhile. If only the demon brat hadn't passed the test. Mizuki muttered as he snuck into the tower. The Hokage was currently in a meeting with the Jonin as to see who would get who for their teams, giving the silver-haired Chunin a chance to steal the forbidden scroll for his master. Alright. Carefully now. He muttered as he slowly lifted the scroll. He closed his eyes tightly for a moment, hoping he didn't trip any traps. After a moment he let out a sigh and opened his eyes. Kami. Sorry about that, felt someone trip the security seals. Where were we? Minato asked sitting back down. Yes, Kushina, who do you wish to have as your pupils? He asked. I'll take the ninja and Kinwaichi of the year and the dead last. She smiled. In her head, she figured that those 3 were her children. Menma and Narumi for sure were top of their class and without their help, Naruto had to be the dead last. She hoped that by having him on her team, he could see how far ahead his siblings were and try to catch up. Alright, next, Asuma. Minato read off. I'll take Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, Shino Aburam, and Ino Yamanaka. Asuma said. The room went quiet as the inhabitants looked at him in confusion. Any particular reason why? Minato asked looking at his predecessor's son. They all have abilities that complement each other, leading to a jack-of-all-trades group. He said simply. If not those 3, I'll take Nara, Akamichi, and Yamanaka. He said. Minato nodded, putting a note down. Kurenai. Alright everyone. Before I announce whose team you all are on, I have one final lesson for you. Haruka reported. Naruto yawned, hoping that the scarred Chunin wouldn't take long. Luckily for the blonde, Haruka only talked for 10 minutes. Now, I've said my piece. Let's get these teams read, shall we? He smiled. Now Team 1. Team 7. Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. He said. Team 8. Shino Aburam, Hinata Hyuga, and Sai. Haruka questioned. He looked up from his paper to see a boy he's never met. Everyone else stared in confusion, wondering who this boy was. Sai got up and handed Haruka a note before sitting back down. After reading the note, the Chunin shrugged before continuing. Team 9. Choji Akamichi, Ino Yamanaka, and Shikamaru Nara. Team 10 is still in Komasan. Team 11. Menma Namikaze Uzumaki, Narumi Namikaze Uzumaki, and Kiba Inuzuka. Everyone let out either a cheer or groan at the sound of their name being placed in a team. Well Shino, seems we lucked out. We'll have to spar or get drinks or something when we're off duty. Naruto smiled at his friend. Shino simply nodded, a bit sad at their being split up. Well, like I said, it's been great being your sensei, and I hope we get the chance to work together in the field. Any moment now, your new senseis shall come collect you. May your will of fire remain strong. Haruka said before leaving the room. Meanwhile. What do you mean Naruto's not on my team? Kushina yelled. Her husband cowered behind his desk as his wife threw loose objects at him. You asked to the top ninja and Kinwaichi and the dead last. I gave them to you. Minato whimpered. Then who's on my team? Kushina asked, a bit less angry now. You got Menma and Narumi, but the dead last is Kiba Inuzuka. Minato explained. Then who has Naruto? Kushina awked. Kakashi ended up getting him. Minato said peering out from under the desk. Fine. I trust Kakashi, but he better not be late. Where is he? Teammate, with me. Kurenai said entering the classroom. Well Shino, good luck out there. Naruto smiled. Good luck to you as well Naruto. Shino said as the 3 got up to leave. A few minutes later Asuma walked in. Team 9, come on. He said. He waited for the 3 to leave before he himself leave. Sweet. Embedded in Naruto's desk was a kunai with a scroll attached to it. Looking up he caught a glimpse of Asuma closing the door behind him. With a smile, the blonde opened the scroll. Yo Naruto, sorry I didn't get you on my team. In exchange, I had this made for you at the Sharp Kunai, it's a weapons shop. This is special and will allow you to channel wind chakra through it. Don't poke your eye out. And keep it on the down low until you really need it. Asuma. Knowing exactly what it was Naruto smiled and pocketed the scroll. What was that loser? Menma asked as he stood in front of his brother's desk. That was the sound of you minding your own business. Naruto said, looking unamused at his brother's pissing contest. Before it could go any further, the door opened up once more, revealing Kushina, who was dragging a silver-haired jonin in by the ear. Team 11, with me. She smiled, letting go of her captive's ear. The silver-haired jonin rubbed it for a moment before giving a smile, or at least his equivalent of one. His mouth and left eye were covered up by a mask and his headband. Team 7, meet me on the roof. He asked before disappearing in a puff of smoke. A few minutes later, the three were on the roof, sitting on the benches as their sensei leaned on the railing. So, how about we introduce ourselves, ya? He asked. Sensei, can you go first? To show us how it goes? Sakura asked. The FFF, smartest girl in class, my ass. Naruto thought. While Sakura could recite the whole textbook back to cover, she had very little skill in the physical aspect of being a shinobi, nor did she try explaining what the book said in her own thoughts. Sure. I am your sensei, Kakashi Haddock. I have some dislikes and my dreams are a bit too much for fresh genin. He said, giving them a nice smile. All three sweat dropped. Alright, let's start with you, Pinky. Kakashi said. I'm Sakura Haruno. I like my dreams are and I dislike Ino Pig. She said, squealing when she looked at the brooding raven-haired boy next to them. Alright. Kakashi smiled. Ah, Kami, why did I pick a fangirl? How about you brooding in the corner? Kakashi asked. My name is Sasuke-chan. I have few things I like. There are a lot of things I don't like. My goal is to defeat my brother and take leadership of my clan. Sasuke said before going back to brooding. Naruto and Kakashi sweat dropped while Sakura beamed at the boy. Alright, not too messed up in the head. His goal is doable, but he's pretty weird. Kakashi thought. Alright, sunshine, you're last. You know who I am, Kakashi, but I'll play nice. I'm Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. I have a few likes, I have a few dislikes, I have a dream. He said, spitting out the name Namikaze. Huh, what's got his panties in a bunch? Oh, he must have wanted to be with his siblings. Kakashi thought. Well, now that that's over, let's talk about the genin test. The silver-haired man started. Kakashi-sensei, we already took the genin test. Sakura pointed out. Correct. But that was just the preliminary test to see who had potential. The real test will be held tomorrow at Training Ground 7 at 9 AM. Oh, and don't eat beforehand, you'll just throw it back up. He said before disappearing again. Sasuke got up to leave, followed by a love-filled Sakura asking to go on a date. The sounds of rejection could be heard as Naruto jumped off the roof. I'll see you soon, Tamari. And that's a wrap. Take it or leave it. I'm guessing at least some of you are asking about Naruto leaving behind the Namikaze name, at least in principle. I have a plan as to why he doesn't actually change his name and will show up soon. So how went everyone's tests? Minato asked in the war room. He got a fail from teams 1 to 6. Kakashi, how did your team do? The blonde asked. I haven't actually tested them yet. Kakashi said, scratching the back of his head. Everyone in the room sweat dropped at the man's laziness. Minato slapped his forehead at his student. And why have you not tested them yet? Minato asked. I told them to be prepared for it tomorrow and suggested to not eat breakfast to them. I want to see how well they take orders. The silver-haired jonin explained. Fine, but as soon as the test is done, I want you in my office with a report. Minato said. Kakashi nodded before stepping back into the crowd and pulling out his porn. Kurenai? Minato asked. After glaring at the porn, the Jinjutsu mistress stepped forward. Teammate has passed. There are a few discrepancies. There does not appear to be a leader among the three, however Shino Abura may have what it takes to step up. All three are less that stellar with their social skills, and Hinata Hyuga seems to lack self-confidence. I have my hands full with these three. She reported. Minato nodded, allowing the woman to step back into the crowd. Asuma. Team 9 has passed. I too have my work cut out for me. Shikamaru Nara, while the obvious leader, neither wants nor feels the need to step into that role. Ino Yamanaka takes a more aggressive stance against her teammates and shows obvious signs of being a fangirl. Choji Akamichi is the most well-rounded of the group, following both Ino and Shikamaru, but also rounds out the team quite well. Asuma said, finishing his report. But good. Minato smiled at the Jonin's explanation of the new Shika Ino Cho team. Kushina. He asked his wife. Asked with flying colors. There are few rough edges, such as Kiba Inuzuka's Pac Minset, but nothing that can't be beat out of him. Kushina said, causing the room to sweat drop. Good, so far we have 3 past teams. He said, leveling a glare at his student. If there's nothing else, you are all dismissed. Minato said. The room quickly dispersed, leaving only Minato and his wife. So, did our children do as well as you hoped? He asked. Yep. Menma and Narumi work great together. It's just Kiba we really need to work with. He's strong, but also strong-headed, which is one of the reasons he was the dead last. Kushina explained. That's good to hear. Kiba will grow out of it. That or his mom will beat it out of him next time she asks. Minato said. I still think you should have given me Naruto as well. I know he's not as strong or talented as Menma and Narumi, but he could use them to push himself. Kushina explained. Sorry honey, but Naruto actually is an average student by clan children's standards. Minato explained. Well that's good. Kushina said totally surprised. Hopefully he and his team pass Kakashi's test tomorrow. Minato said scrunching up his brow. Hey Kakashi. Asuma said as they exited the war room. Looking away from his porn for a moment, the Jonin smiled. Asuma, what can I do for you? He asked. A word of warning. Don't take Naruto lightly. The smoker said. Oh really? First-hand account? Kakashi asked, trying to get some info on his sensei's son. Just don't underestimate him. Oh, and don't compare him to his siblings. Asuma explained before walking off. I think I should do absolutely that. I need to see how strong those three are anyway. Best to see them at their best and worst. Kakashi said before going back to his porn. Sakura grumbled as she held on to her stomach. Their sensei was now nearly 2 hours late to their test. The three sat around the training ground, entertaining themselves as they waited. Hey guys. Kakashi smiled as he appeared in the training ground. You're late. Sakura yelled, causing her teammates to cringe. Sorry about that. Kakashi said tilting his head to the side while smiling. I had to help a little old lady get her groceries and then her cat ended up being stuck in a tree. He lied. Liar. Sakura yelled. So are you ready to take the test? Kakashi asked. HN. Sure. Yes, sensei. Kakashi smiled before pulling out an oven timer. So, here's the rules for the test. To see who gets to become a genin and who is sent back to the academy, you need to complete this test before the end of the day. If you don't complete this test by the time this timer dings, you won't get lunch. Kakashi explained. At this, Sasuke's and Sakura's stomachs grumbled in protest. He asked, only hearing two grumbles. Didn't I tell you to not eat breakfast? He asked, leveling his eye on Naruto. Didn't people tell you it's rude to read porn in public? Naruto asked. Touché. However, I thought I gave you an order. Kakashi said more than asked. As we are not officially genin yet, you have no authority over us, making your order moot. Also you suggested that we not eat, not ordered. Naruto explained with a foxy grin. Very astute Naruto. Kakashi smiled. He reached back into his vest and pulled out 2 bells. Now, in order to pass this test to become official genin, you must take these bells from me. He explained. Sakura raised her hand but spoke without being called on. But sensei, there are only 2 bells. She said. Naruto's sweat dropped at the pinket. Yep. And that means that there is a 66% acceptance rate for those who take this test. Kakashi explained. Now, I want you to come at me with the intent to kill, otherwise, none of you will get a bell. Kakashi said, tying the bells to his pants. But sensei, you might get hurt. Sakura exclaimed in fear. She has to be some kind of moron. Naruto thought. Oh, I think I will be just fine. Now, when I put this timer down, the test officially starts. He said, holding up the oven timer. As soon as he set it down, the 3 were gone. Where did my little wannabe ninjas go? He muttered to himself. He reached into his pack and slowly pulled out his porn, pretending to read it. Let's see. Sakura, under the bush 30 meters to the southwest. Not very stealthy. Sasuke doing better, hiding in a tree and behind some branches 23 meters east. And Naruto, that's odd, I can't seem to find him. He mused. Oh well, someone will try. He shrugged before going back to his porn. Up in the tree, Sasuke was trying to piece together a strategy. Seems like the blonde idiot actually managed to disappear. Sakura is obviously under the bush. Kakashi seems distracted, but I can't tell. Hopefully the loser makes a move or Kakashi goes after Sakura. Sasuke observed. Come on Sasuke, bust in there and take the bells so that me and you can become genin together. Sakura said to herself, hearts in her eyes. Naruto had a different idea. He currently was hidden in the creek, a ball of wind charca around his head, allowing him to breathe and see a bit out of the water. Kakashi will wait till one of us attacks before going on the offensive. Knowing Sasuke, he will only wait so long until his mind forces him to attack. Sakura is the crutch here, thinking Sasuke will either save her or win a bell for her. Naruto said to himself. Plan, wait for Sasuke to distract, create clone to henge into a small fast animal. Animal clone uses underpowered wind cutter on the string of the bell, cutting it free, allowing me to gain a bell after next distraction. He mused. Luckily for the blonde, his analysis was correct, as after about 7.5 minutes, Sasuke sprung from his hiding spot. He chucked a handful of shuriken at Kakashi, hitting the silver-haired ninja before he disappeared in a blast of smoke, having been substituted with a log. Gotta move. By throwing shuriken, I've announced my position. Sasuke thought. Nice try, Sasuke. Though I am surprised you were the first to attack. Kakashi said, leaning on the tree next to the raven-haired boy. Sasuke jumped from the tree into the field, allowing himself space to fight. As he landed, he finished up the seals for a jutsu. Wait. There's no way a genin has the chakra for that jutsu. Kakashi thought. He was wrong, however, as in the next moment he went underground, narrowly avoiding a giant fireball. Where are you? Sasuke mumbled, scanning the scorched plain for his sensei. He didn't feel the minute vibrations underneath him, causing him to look on in shock as two arms erupted from the earth before dragging him back down into the soil, effectively trapping him from the neck down. Good try, Sasuke. That great fireball jutsu is quite powerful. But now I need to see about your teammates. Kakashi said with a wave. Wow, Sasuke is so cool. Sakura beamed. She had observed the whole scuffle until she lost sight of the two as they moved further away. The SSST. Sakura. Kakashi said, freaking out the pinkette. Ah. She screeched, jumping up from her position. When she looked around, Kakashi was nowhere to be found. Suddenly behind her, the bushes started rustling, causing her to pull out a kunai. To her dismay, Sasuke crawled out of the bushes, his body covered in wounds and weapons. Sakura, please help. He said before the girl passed out. Sigh. I figured one of the runner-ups for Kunoichi of the year would realize a genjutsu when she sees one. Oh well, Minato-sensei didn't say I have to pass them. But might as well see where Naruto got off too. He said, walking back to the middle of the training field. Looking around, he didn't see the blonde, which elevated him to the same level as Sasuke in terms of stealth to Kakashi. Deciding to use a basic chakra sensing jutsu, he looked around in shock at there being 4 chakra signatures around him. Scanning the field, he noticed a few small animals acting a bit strange. Oh, I see, props to you, Naruto. He said before punching each animal, causing them to dispel. None of these were Naruto. He said, scanning the field again. When his back was turned, Naruto shot out of the water, going through hand signs. Wind style. Great breakthrough. He yelled before a great burst of wind shot from his mouth. The wind knocked Kakashi back 20 meters, but overall, the Jonin was fine. Good strategy, Naruto, poor ending though. Kakashi deadpanned. But, seeing as there is still time, let's begin the lesson. Seeing as you have a good grasp of lesson 1, ninjutsu, let's move on to lesson 2. Taijutsu. Kakashi smiled before charging at the boy with high genin speeds. Naruto cartwheeled out of the way of a punch. Kakashi advanced, swinging around with a round kick to Naruto's side, sending the blonde flying 10 feet. Come on, Naruto, your siblings at least try to counterattack. But seeing as your siblings are more worthy to be clan heads, I guess it's understandable that you're not as strong. Kakashi said, baiting the kid. I know what you're doing, Kakashi. I don't appreciate the insults. Naruto said, picking himself up. Well, if you don't like them, then why don't you do something about it? Kakashi smiled. Naruto rushed through hand signs before a large blade of wind shot at the Jonin. Kakashi dodged with a flip, landing behind Naruto. Naruto. What is that? Kakashi asked, looking at the strange weapon Naruto was now holding. There's a reason I'm mediocre at Taijutsu, Kakashi. He said, twirling his staff. He held the staff in his hand, preparing to charge, but as he took a step forward, the timer dinged. Oh, well, let's call that a wrap for now and eat. Kakashi smiled. Naruto's eye twitched in annoyance before he sighed and sealed his staff back up. You mind waking up Sakura? Kakashi asked. 20 minutes later, all 3 sat around the training field, all 3 in relative good shape. Now, since I've evaluated all your skills, and since none of you have gotten a bell, I don't think I'm going to allow you to continue the test. Kakashi said, causing Sasuke and Sakura to spit out their lunches. Naruto was not given a lunch as he had eaten breakfast. Ahem. Naruto said, pulling out a bell. Naruto, Sakura screeched. Oh, very good, Naruto. I didn't even realize that was gone. Kakashi said, putting down his porn. Mind telling me when you got that? When you and Sasuke were engaged, I sent a Hank clone to snag it off you. Naruto explained. Very good. I think I'll recommend you go back for remedial classes unlike these two. Kakashi said casually. The field was silent for a moment. What? Sakura yelled and Sasuke growled. I'm only doing that because he had the skills to get a bell. If he didn't, I would recommend all 3 of you be dropped from the shinobi system. Kakashi said seriously. None of you realize the purpose of this test at all. Kakashi scolded. You mean teamwork? Naruto asked. I figured it out pretty quickly. Oh? Then why didn't you help your teammates out? Kakashi asked. I've known these two for years at this point. There's no way the three of us would work well together. Sasuke is blinded by his ambition and won't listen to others unless he knows they are stronger than him. Sakura is a walking textbook true, but she has no ability to use that knowledge outside of a classroom. And her being paired with Sasuke is a mistake, she doesn't listen to anything that contradicts Sasuke. If I tried teaming up with him, nothing would have changed except we would have wasted time. Naruto explained. Well, we don't know that unless since you didn't try. Kakashi said. Naruto just gave him a deadpan look. Look, I don't want to go back to the academy so I'll do this. Naruto said pulling out a kunai. He the bell into the air and quickly slashed it twice. You didn't clarify in what shape the bells we got had to be, so I give these two a piece of my bell, making up pass. Naruto said chucking the pieces at the two. Fine. Because you explained the point of the test and subsequently cheated, you all pass. Kakashi said, causing the Sasuke and Sakura to look at the Jonin in surprise. Really, Sakura asked. Yep. Be here tomorrow at 7 AM ready to start training. Kakashi said before disappearing in a pour of smoke. The three looked at each other before going their separate ways. Or in Sakura's case, followed Sasuke to ask him out. So how did it go, Kakashi? Minato asked once his student arrived. A pass sort of. Kakashi said rubbing the back of his head. What do you mean, sort of? The blonde asked. Naruto figured out the purpose of the test but did not share it with his teammates. At the end when I risked failing them, he cut the bell he got into 3 pieces and gave it to the others, saying he didn't want to return to the academy. Kakashi explained scratching his face through his mask. Minato sighed at the mention of his son's deeds. Alright, I'll allow it. But tell me, what did you learn of their skills? Minato asked. Well, Sasuke is at high genin in terms of skill. Mentally he seems to suffer from tunnel vision. Sakura is nearly useless and will need the most attention. Kakashi said. And Naruto? The Hokage inquired. Well, we didn't finish our fight, but what I did see places him around Sasuke's level in terms of skill. Mentally he is quite a good strategist and used a fairly good explanation when I asked about why he didn't try to help the others. On the other hand he plays dirty and looks for loopholes to exploit, as with the bells. Kakashi rambled. Essentially he's manipulative and calculating. Well, he's better than I thought he'd be. Minato said truthfully. I thought the same. Should have listened to Asuma about not underestimating him. Kakashi thought aloud. Asuma? Minato asked. Yeah, apparently they know each other. Quite well if Asuma knows how strong he is. Interesting. 2 months passed by rather slowly for Team 7. In the mornings, Kakashi would have them do team building exercise in order to help them work better. In the afternoon, they would go on D-rank missions, earning them valuable experience. Alright Team 7, the remaining D-rank missions for today are helping a farm corral their livestock, walking the Inyazuka dogs. Or no. Catching Tora, again. Lord Hokage, I would like to request a C-rank mission. Naruto stepped forward. Naruto, you can't just request a higher mission. You need to think of your team. Iruka scolded. We're tired of these chores people are too lazy to do on their own. Sasuke spoke up. Oh dear, it seems there's some pent-up emotions today. Kakashi said. So you feel this way as well, Sakura? He asked. I would appreciate something different. She blushed. Well then, Minato-sensei, it seems we need a C rank. Kakashi smiled. Are you sure, Kakashi? Minato asked. Why not? C ranks are good experience and if anything truly out of their league happens, I'm there to protect them. He smiled. Very well, let's see what we have available. He said opening up the C rank missions. No, not good for this team, not enough experience. Here this should be perfect for you all. Minato said after looking through a few missions. You 4 shall escort a bridge builder back to his home in Wave Country and defend him until the bridge is complete. Minato said reading off the scroll. Sounds good to me, Minato-sensei. Kakashi said with a smile. Sasuke gave a curt nod in acceptance, followed by an eager Sakura. Naruto have a bored look but nodded at a chance to expand his horizons. Meet at the East Gate tomorrow morning 6 o'clock sharp. Your client shall be waiting for you there. Minato read off. He then dismissed the team before calling in another one to give them their mission. Alright team, pack everything you need for, let's say a 2-week trip. Like the Hokage said, meet up at the East Gate at 6 o'clock. Kakashi said before disappearing in a puff of smoke. The 3 split off to go pack, only for Naruto to make a detour. Knock knock. Yes. Shibi asked opening the door. Lord Abiram, is Shino home? Naruto asked. He is still with his team, young Namikaze Uzumaki. The Bug Lord said. Very well. Thank you. If you could tell Shino that I have gone on a 2-week-long mission, I would be most thankful. Naruto bowed. The man gave a nod before closing the door. With a small smile on his face, he returned home to pack. 6 o'clock. Naruto said, looking at the rising sun. He was the first to arrive, even before the client himself. A few minutes later, Sasuke appeared, a good-sized backpack over his shoulder, followed by Sakura, who looked like she threw her entire makeup cabinet in a backpack. 10 minutes later, with some awkward silence to pass the time, Kakashi appeared with an elder man by his side. "Ah, good to see you all are here. This is Tazuna, our client," he introduced. Tazuna scanned them for a minute before a frown settled on his face. "What is this? I thought I paid for ninjas, not a little girl who fell asleep with bubblegum in her mouth, a kid with a duck's ass on his head, and a blonde with a furry fetish," Tazuna remarked. "I assure you, Tazuna, these three are some of the best genin we have. Sasuke is the younger brother of the Uchiha-chan's head. Naruto here is the eldest child of the Hokage. And Sakura is the runner-up for best Kunoichi in her graduating class," Kakashi explained. Tazuna leveled a beady on them once more. "Meh, it will have to do," he said before he started walking out the gate. Naruto. I thought I told you to pack for about 2 weeks," Kakashi said, remarking on his lack of backpack. "Ceiling scroll," he said before following the old man. Kakashi nodded to himself before he ushered his other students out the gate. "So Mr. Tazuna, what's wave like?" Sakura asked. They had been walking at a civilian's pace for nearly 3 hours now, and the monotony was starting to get to the genin. Wave is a small country, only having one big city, but the country itself is made up odd small islands and archipelagos, Tazuna explained. "Oh, that must be why you're building the bridge, to connect the islands together," Sakura said, happy that she figured it out. "Nope. We're building a bridge between the mainland and the capital. That way we don't have to rely on just ships for supplies," Tazuna said, bursting the pink-haired girl's bubble. Kakashi, who was reading his porn, felt something was off at this statement. But, he decided that they would find out the truth sooner than later. Down the road, there was a large puddle on the ground. Jinjutsu. Wonder what they're after, Kakashi thought. Best to see what the kiddies do. As soon as they walked past the puddle, a large shark chain shot up from the ground, slicing Kakashi into pieces. "One down," a voice said as Sakura let out a scream. 2 figures burst forth from the puddle, both wearing masks and gauntlets that the chain was attached to. Sasuke and Naruto burst into action, Sasuke throwing a kunai into the chain, Naruto sending a wind cutter at the closest ninja. The kunai stuck the chain into the ground, rendering it useless, however the two seemed prepared for that as they unclipped the chain. The one that Naruto sent a wind cutter at went through some hand seals before a large wall made of water materialized in front of him, stopping the blade. "These guys are a bit tougher than they look," Naruto said with a tick. Sasuke N''D in agreement before the two charged for one-on-one combat. Sasuke quickly took out a kunai just in time to block a claw attack from blade sticking out of the man's gauntlet. He pushed the man off balance, allowing him to kick the man into a tree, knocking him out. Naruto on the other hand unsealed his staff and redirected his opponent's attack, sending him stumbling past the blonde before he kicked the ninja in the face, sending him sprawling to the ground. As the ninja was about to get up, a foot firmly placed itself on his back. Now, no need to be hasty, I'd like to have a word with you," Kakashi said. "Kakashi-sensei, you're alive," Sakura yelled. "Of course he is. Didn't you see the logs he used for substitution?" Naruto pointed out, a bit annoyed at the Pinkette's ability to miss the obvious. Indeed, where Kakashi's bleeding body once laid were now a few logs covered in cuts. Now Naruto. Let's not be snippy," Kakashi chastised. "So, let's see about who you two were after. Sasuke, can you tie up the other one?" Kakashi said as he pushed a pressure point, causing the Newtonin to pass out. 10 minutes later, the two were tied up to a tree and the 5 had calmed down to a good degree. "Sasuke, Naruto, good job. Sakura, way to keep the client safe," Kakashi said, trying to think of something the girl had done. "Now, let's get to the root of the matter," the silver-haired jonin said before turning to Tazuna. "Why are there missing nin from Mizu trying to kill you?" Kakashi inquired. What do you mean?" the elder man stammered. "Well, they went for me first, to take out the biggest threat, but why would 2 Mizu missing nins be so far into Konoha territory? My only thought would be that they are after you," Kakashi explained, staring right at the man. After a few long seconds, Tazuna broke down and explained the true situation in wave. "This indeed is a problem. But we are not qualified to handle this big of a job. I'm afraid, Tazuna, that we must return to the leaf," Kakashi explained. "What?" Tazuna gasped. "You did not pay for such a mission and held back crucial information from us that could have led to put deaths. I'm afraid we must turn back as the rules state," he continued. "I'm also afraid that I will have to label Wave as blacklisted as you have lied to us in my report. The silver-haired Jonin said before he turned to leave for home. Come along team. BB but you can't just abandon me here. Tazuna cried. He took a step towards the Jonin, but a hand placed itself on Tazuna's shoulder, stopping him. Let's go Tazuna. Naruto said affirmatively. Then Naruto? The old man asked. You need help, I'll help you. Naruto said, thinking back on how someone helped him. Tazuna fell to his knees as he cried thanks towards the blonde. Naruto, what are you doing? Kakashi asked. He was ecstatic that his sensei's son had such a sense of justice, but rules were rules, and if Naruto went off by himself, he'd be labeled a missing nin. Helping someone? The blonde replied. We can't do that Naruto. We are not prepared for such a mission. Kakashi countered. And if we leave, Tazuna and countless others will be dead, or worse. Naruto said with conviction. Do you two have similar thoughts? Kakashi asked. Sounds like Gato will hire someone strong. I'm in. Sasuke smirked. And you Sakura? How do you feel? Kakashi asked. Well, it'd be nice to help them sensei. Sakura said, looking down at her feet. Kakashi sighed and thought it over. Very well then. Sensei's not going to like this. Tazuna. He said looking back at the man once more. The only way I can accept this change is if you give more money. It doesn't have to be immediately, but you owe the Leaf Village. Further negotiations will be held once this is over. Kakashi explained. Oh of course. Tazuna said as he scrambled up from the ground. We're still a few hours away, but we must be careful. Follow me. Tazuna said as he led them off the main road. Indeed, after a few hours, Tazuna led them to a misty coastline where they walked for another hour until they came upon a small fishing hut. The old man knocked in a specific pattern before the door creaked open slightly. Tazuna. I see you're back. A man's voice said. Yeah. I've got help. We need a lift to wave. He explained. The man closed his door before what sounded like locks being unlocked came from the house. After a minute the door opened and an average-looking man stepped out. He led the four to a small motorboat on the other side of the hut. Get in. He commanded. For the next half hour, the boat moved smoothly through the misty waters. Very little talk was held as they were preparing for anything to happen. Suddenly, out in the mist appeared a talk structure. The man turned the motor off and proceeded to row them forwards. As they got closer, they realized that the structure was a bridge. It's huge. Sakura commented. Thank you. I've spent so much time and effort on this bridge, it's my contribution to my home. A way for us to escape Gato's rule. Tazuna explained. The Pincat nodded before turning to the captain of the small ship. Why are we not using the motor? She inquired. Gato's men patrol the waters around Wave. We must not make a lot of noise, so no more questions. The man commanded. The rest of the trip was taken in silence, the tension was as palpable as the mist surrounding them. Not long later, the boat moored at a small hidden dock. Good luck Tazuna. The man said before departing. Come on, my home is this way. Tazuna whispered. The five quietly trekked through the woods until they arrived at a small clearing. Thunk. Naruto. Sakura yelled, freaked out by his sudden throw of a kunai. The blonde ducked into the bushes and pulled out a small white rabbit, whether it was white from terror or just naturally white, the blonde didn't know. It was just a rabbit you dunce. Sakura yelled. Kakashi put a hand over her mouth, shutting up the Pincat. That rabbit is unnaturally white. Kakashi said, looking around. His senses were screaming at him that something was off. Suddenly, off in the distance, Kakashi heard a strange noise. Everybody down. He yelled. As soon as they ducked a massive broadsword flew where their heads were but a second ago. A minute later, the sword embedded itself into a large tree. No wonder the demon twins didn't return. A rough gravelly voice said. The group looked up to see a large man standing on top of the sword's hilt. He wore blue camo pants over combat boots and no shirt. His face was covered by wrappings and his headband was on sideways over his forehead. Never thought I'd face copycat Kakashi, the man said. Zabuza Mamachi, the demon of the mist. Kakashi said, standing back up. Diamond formation. He commanded. The genin flew into action and assumed a defensive position around Tazuna. Naruto on the left, Sasuke on the right, Sakura in the back, Kakashi in the front. What are you doing here? Kakashi asked. I've been contracted to kill the man you're guarding. Seeing as I don't want to get into a big fight with you, why don't you hand him over and I'll be on my way? Zabuza asked. Sorry, but we too have been contracted to defend him. Kakashi informed. Well, at the very least, this should be fun. The missing nin said before the mist thickened. The four looked around, trying to find the masked ninja, but to no avail. Liver, heart, trachea, so many choices. His voice rang out. Suddenly a large pressure was felt on the five, causing Tazuna to nearly pass out and the genin to freeze up in terror. Don't worry guys. I'm here. Kakashi reassured as he took out a kunai. Don't be so sure. Zabuza said, inside the circle. The large man raised his cleaver and swung at speeds the genin could not see. Clang. I knew this wasn't going to be easy. Zabuza said. His swing had been intercepted by Kakashi's kunai, which now had a large dent in it. Kakashi threw a fistful of shuriken at the swordsman, hitting him in the chest. Zabuza looked impressed, but instead of blood coming out his wounds, water flowed out before his body dissolved into a puddle of water. Damn. Water clones. Kakashi said. He dashed to the side, dodging another swing. Now Kakashi. Where's that famous eye of yours? Zabuza said mockingly. Just waiting for a good time to show off. Kakashi said, not helping the four understand at all. Naruto. Can you clear this mist up? Kakashi asked. Worth a shot. Naruto said before unleashing a powerful great breakthrough. The mist cleared slightly, allowing them to see more than 5 feet in front of them. Inside the clearing, there stood about 20 different Zabuza, all wielding massive swords. Not bad brat. But, you kids should run home. Real ninja are talking here. The real Zabuza mocked before even more pressure appeared, the source coming from the missing nin. After a moment, the pressure seemed to take the form of a demon. Half its body was submerged in the lake below him, but its face struck fear into the group. Azuna passed out from the pressure, and the three once more froze up. Guess he can dish it out a bit, but can't take shit. Zabuza smirked. 3 clones dashed at the group, trying to end this battle quickly. They soon burst into puddles, courtesy of Kakashi's kunai. It seems you're getting rusty, Zabuza. Kakashi mocked. Zabuza just laughed. Those clones only have about 10% of my power, Kakashi. But I think you need a demonstration. He thrust his hand forward, sending a massive sphere of water at Kakashi. As it picked up speed, it morphed from a ball of water into a large shark. Water shark bullet. Zabuza yelled. Kakashi looked on in fear before going through his own hand signs and disappeared underground. The shark exploded as it hit the ground, but there was no sign of Kakashi. Zabuza narrowed his eyes as I searched for the ninja. Suddenly, Kakashi burst from the earth a few feet from the lake, going through hand signs. Fire style. Phoenix flower jutsu. Kakashi yelled, sending a barrage of fireballs at the swordsman as he ran on the lake. Zabuza smirked, readying his own jutsu as he dodged the deadly projectiles. When he finished, his body sunk beneath the surface, safe from the fire jutsu. Kakashi stopped running, unable to see his opponent, but grabbed a new kunai from his pouch. Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi turned to see his team, surrounded by Zabuza clones. Sasuke and Naruto were defending the best they could, but they were getting overwhelmed. I'm on the way. He yelled. Suddenly, the water next to him bubbled before a giant turtle head made of water shot out and engulfed the jonin, pulling him onto the lake. Water style. Turtle's Ma Jutsu. Quite the jutsu to capture strong enemies with, Kakashi. Zabuza said, resurfacing from the water. He went through some hand signs once more before placing his hand on the watery prison. Water prison jutsu. He said. Now, brats. I'm going to offer you your lives once more. Zabuza said, halting his clone's attack. Hand over the old man and you can go. Oh, and I'll be keeping your sensei. He's got quite the bounty on his head. Zabuza laughed. Hell no. Naruto roared. We are ninja of the Leaf Village. We never leave a comrade behind. Naruto yelled. Zabuza just laughed harder. That's a good one, kid. You can't even call yourself a ninja yet. I bet you haven't even had your first kill. Zabuza mocked. Oh yeah? How many did you kill when you were our age? Sasuke smirked. A dark gleam entered Zabuza's eyes. They call me the demon of the mist for a reason, kid. I killed the entire graduating class of the academy. Before I was even entered. Zabuza laughed. Looks of horror passed over the three as they realized just how screwed they were. Run. Take Tazuna and go. I'll figure out a way to escape. Kakashi pleaded with his troop. No way, Kakashi. We told you we won't abandon you. Naruto said. You've got a minute, brats. After that, Kakashi here is going to start turning purple and then you will all start turning pale from blood loss. Zabuza said. Naruto was sweating as he tried to think of a plan. No, my skill isn't enough for that. And there's too many clones around to leave. Wait, either then will work or we'll die trying. He thought. Sasuke. I have an idea. Oh yeah, loser. What you got? Sasuke whispered back. The two conversed silently for a few moments before nodding in agreement. You brats done with your tea party over there? Zabuza asked. Indeed. Naruto said, stepping forward. He unsealed his staff and twirled it around his head. Ooh, looky here. We got ourselves a little bow staff. And what are those on the ends? Kunai? Kid, did you get dropped on your head as a child one too many times? Zabuza laughed. Naruto smirked before jumping back, allowing Sasuke to release the chakra he was building up. Fire style. Great fireball jutsu. He yelled before releasing a giant blast from his mouth. The fire engulfed the clones, evaporating them in an instant. The real Zabuza was far enough away to avoid the jutsu. Is that it? Well, I gave you the option, so I guess it's time to die. Zabuza said as I prepared more clones. Suddenly, a barrage of shuriken came flying through the fire at the missing mist ninja. He raised his sword lazily, blocking the stars. Your aim is shit, kid, only half of those were even aimed at me. Indeed, flying to his side were a few shuriken. He looked up in confusion as the fire died down and the blonde was missing. Poof. Eat this, Zabuza. Naruto yelled as he raised up his scroll. Wind style. Pulse jutsu. Wind chakra burst from the paper, colliding with Zabuza's feet, sending the ninja a few feet into the air. The water prison fell, freeing Kakashi, who sucked in a deep breath. Good job, Naruto. Were you disguised as one of those shuriken? Kakashi asked. Yeah, using the fireball as a smokescreen, I managed to get close to Zabuza to take him out. Naruto said as Kakashi pulled him out of the lake. As they reached the shore, even more pressure formed in the lake, the demon reforming. Suddenly, Zabuza burst from the water, his eyes wide open and his lower legs bleeding. Alright. Now I'm pissed. I'm not just going to kill you little shits, I'm mailing you home in pieces. He yelled. Kakashi narrowed his one eye. Naruto. Back to position. I'll end this. Kakashi reached for his headband before raising it, revealing a Sharingan. Finally. Let's get to the fun part. Zabuza yelled before going through a long series of seals. Where did he get a Sharingan? Sasuke yelled. Now's not the time, Sasuke. Kakashi said as the two simultaneously started going through hand seals before they both landed on the same seal. Water style. Water dragon bullet jutsu. They yelled. The lake swirled before two towering dragons erupted from its waters. The dragons charged each other, Kakashi's taking a bite out of the opposing construct. Zabuza's dragon roared before sinking its own teeth into its attacker. There's no way. Zabuza yelled in frustration. You're just a damn monkey. All you can do is copy me. Zabuza yelled before they both jumped back, going through the same seals once more. Suddenly Zabuza had a look of fright appear on his face. Canu. See the future? Kakashi asked. Kakashi finished first, as a giant vortex of water started spinning around him. Water release. Great waterfall jutsu. He yelled before a geyser of water shot at the missing nin. The water impacted the ninja and kept going, breaking through trees, rocks, and anything in its way. After about 30 feet, the water died down, revealing Zabuza coughing against a tree. This is your end. Kakashi said, impaling him with 4 kunai. As he raised his next knife, 2 needles shot from the tree tops, going straight into Zabuza's neck. What? Kakashi said unintelligently as he was taken by surprise. Out of nowhere, a masked person, roughly the size of Naruto and Sasuke, appeared next to Zabuza's corpse. Thank you for taking so much out of him. I fear I wouldn't have been able to take him down by myself. The masked ninja said before disappearing. The group was silent as Tazuna slowly woke up now that the pressure was dissipating. What the hell was that? Tazuna said as he got up from the ground. That was a dangerous opponent. Kakashi said before falling to his knees, the adrenaline wearing off. With what little chakra he had left, Kakashi bit his thumb before going through the summoning jutsu. Pa-kun. Kakashi said. A small puff of smoke appeared before a pug appeared wearing the Konoha headband. Kakashi. What happened to you? The dog spoke. That to Minato-sensei. We need, back up. We're in wave. Kakashi said before passing out. The pug nodded before running off into the mist. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura yelled. Naruto ran over to their sensei and checked for a pulse. He's alive, but we need to get out of these woods. Who knows who else Gato hired? Naruto said, motioning for Sasuke to help him. The two lifted the jonin over their shoulders, his legs dragging on the ground. Tazuna, how far away are we from town? Naruto asked. It's not too far, follow me. What if Naruto thrown away by parents, and thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys next video.